What's up, everybody? We are live. How you doing? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Footage courtesy of the Verdin Verdict. Everybody, you got to subscribe like I have. Like these videos. The Verdin Verdict, always on top of it with the film. Spring 2025. Spring practices in full swing 2025. They're now, right there in their second week. Right there in the second week of practices. And it's been different because here's the thing. They've been actually tackling. They've been hitting, not a ton, but a little bit. You've seen footage of it. You like that this is the direction they've gone in, because the last few years there was barely, if any, tackling, even clear into fall camp. There'd be some here and there. They'd have scrimmages where there would be live hits and stuff, but it would be very minimalistic, really just afraid of the injury factor. And I get it. I understand it. But it seems like that almost caused more injuries than it saved us from. And not to mention the defenses were so much worser when you're not practicing. So much worse when you're not practicing hitting and tackling in spring. So that's good to see. But this spring 2025, on the heels of a season where LSU had the best quarterback in the SEC, dare I say it, in college football. This is a season where I look at the college football landscape. You look at the entire picture here. You look at the entire landscape here. What is possible for this LSU squad? And I understand that, you usually go, oh, well, this team is down, so therefore equals this team is going to be great because they will be the beneficiaries of these other schools, these other squads, of their fall. They'll be the beneficiary of that fall. Well, that would have happened for LSU last year, right? They should have. It would have happened for LSU in 2023 if that was the case, right? But it matters if you just take care of your own shit, no matter how weak, no matter how strong the opponent is. Because you're going to have to beat the strongest of the strongest anyway within the SEC. But here's the thing. I actually feel that this is a weak year once again in the SEC that we're about to come up on. I think this is another weak year in quarterbacking across the SEC, across the college football landscape, where Garrett Nussmeier very well could be the best quarterback, pure talent for talent, arm for arm, signal caller per signal caller across the board. You could say Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback in college football, and I don't think that would be a crazy thing to say. I don't think that would be. I don't think it would be a shocking thing to say either. So LSU have a fantastic staff on top of that. You've got that returning quarterback, that big piece coming back when he's got the same quarterbacks coach for the fourth straight year now. And you've got, it's crazy because Joe Sloan's been there for every single year since Kelly's been there. And it's crazy we've been able to retain him 2022, 2023, 2024, and now another season where he is co-OC alongside receivers coach, who's also been there 4 years, Cortez Hankton, very much in demand even by the Saints this last offseason, stays with LSU once again. It's incredible that LSU have been able to keep this staff together, to build this staff. And I understand. Bo Davis got lost. We lost Bo Davis. Oh, my gosh. Bringing in Kyle Williams, I think, is just what this coaching staff needed, because you don't really want every coach to be like an all-star, been there, done that coach. I don't really think that works for a staff. I don't think that brings the best out of a staff. I think you do need, the rookie assistant, like a Joe Brady on staff, to kind of bring out the teaching in those coaches to keep them on their heels as well, because, hey, that guy's kind of a rising star. He's kind of making me have to up my game, you know. And so you see across the board this mixture of levels of experience, difference with age, obviously, difference of what they've been able to do in their football careers. You're talking about this varied but all-star coaching staff that LSU has. A lot of guys with Louisiana pedigree. Some guys who have a ton of Louisiana pedigree but didn't play a down for LSU as a player. When you're talking about Frank Wilson, Cortez Hankton, you're talking about these guys, but they didn't play a snap for LSU. Brad Davis played for Oklahoma. You know, like the list goes on, but they still mean a lot to just the state of Louisiana as well. Lance Guidry coming back to the staff. You've got all these pieces. You know, Blake Baker, your defensive coordinator, is likely to become a future head coach. Blake Baker, Joe Sloan, your two main coordinators are future head coaches. Your running backs coach is a future head coach. And not only that, he's the best recruiter in the Southeast. And he's proven that for year after year after year, Frank Wilson. Cortez Hankton, right up there. And he did it again this last week by getting Keys, a 5-star freak receiver for the 2026 class, the number 1 overall receiver. For the second straight year, the number 1 overall receiver commits to LSU, although we know what happened to the other 2025 number 1 overall receiver, DeCorian Moore, committed to LSU, but in the end did not make it to the finish line. But point is, Cortez Hankton still recruits with the best of them. And he develops and brings in a lot of great guys too. So do not sleep on that guy. Point is, this is a staff that is stacked. This is a brilliant staff, in my opinion. Point is, how long can you keep these guys together? And you really have to cash in now with this staff. That's cool seeing Juwan Johnson out there at quarterback. He's so damn good at LCA at quarterback. I think it's a fantastic position move for him. I could see his future being there at LSU as a future starting quarterback for LSU. No question. He's got that talent. And that's another thing. This staff are next level making that move because, like, I understand last year was not perfect by any means, but you could see where this staff was going to be limited in the personnel because they just simply didn't have enough of firepower in a lot of different positions. Simply just did not have the firepower. Now they do. Now they have that firepower. Okay? I mean, and not only that, they have the size. I mean, this staff is incredible when you're looking across the board, top to bottom. This is a dream staff in LSU history, even with the loss of Bo Davis. So drink it in, folks, because this staff will not be there forever. I mean, this is probably the last year for Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton. Hopefully not, but last year for those guys probably. 4 years in one place, a long time for assistants. It's incredible that Kelly has been able to retain those guys, keep those guys happy and feeling fulfilled there at LSU. And that's because they've done amazing jobs there at LSU and the guys that they have recruited, the guys that they've developed, the guys that they have signed through the portal. Where would LSU be without Sloan and Hankton? But here's the thing. They've got to cash in on the absolute cachet of weapons, the absolute arsenal of weapons that LSU has this season. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This is a ridiculous receiving core, a ridiculous running back room. Even without the addition two players who are likely to be coming back to LSU soon here enough. One of them waiting on some stuff to be decided that is a little out of everybody's control, but we'll see where that goes. Another one, they're likely going to come back to LSU, but they have not 100% made that decision. So there's two players who could be coming back to LSU, but even without that, I like the running back room, but you are short on depth, big time. Short on veteran depth, big time. Such a small, such a smaller room, such a compact room that would be very, very short on depth. But really, this is a group that is unbelievable on offense. The speed from this skill position group, it may be unparalleled in LSU history. I'm not joking by that either. I'm going to show you the numbers right here. We got the raw numbers. All these 40 numbers, maybe like defensive backs, maybe LSU in the past had defensive backs and running backs who are right in that level. But I'm talking about like the absolute freaks that LSU's got at receiver, at running back right now, who aren't just taking care of business out there in in spring camp. These guys are developing for that next level with the young guys. They're developing for that next level to go into these games and contribute in big moments. But then, it's going to be obvious. Caden Durham, Chris Hilton Jr., Barian Brown, Aaron Anderson, those guys will lead the way for LSU's receiving room, LSU's running back room. There's no question. But you look at these numbers and you just think, Caden Durham, we don't know his official 40-yard speed right now. But we know that he had a 10.25 meter, which is crazy. Was an absolute freak of a track star. And we've seen him run for over 40 yards enough to know it's blinding. I would say it's probably like 4.24 or something, 40-yard dash, something like that. It's crazy. Chris Hilton Jr., and this is not even as fast as he could be, and probably will be if he goes a full season without injury and is able to play up to his abilities, his utmost abilities, I should say. 4.31 40-yard dash from Chris Hilton Jr. Barian Brown, 4.38 40. He also hit 22.6 miles per hour during a 2023 kickoff return for Kentucky, which is faster than any NFL player ran that entire season. That's insane. Xavion Thomas has a 4.39 40. Aaron Anderson, who you've seen him, blinding speed, that Texas A&M play, 4.53 40. Destin Hill, who I'm going to be talking about in just a second, 4.35 40 from him. And then Jelani Watkins, who we all know is a absolute just blur of speed, 4.34 in the 40. So you have unbelievable speed at your disposal. If you're Cortez Hankton, if you're Joe Sloan, of course, co-OCs / receiver coach / quarterbacks coach, and then Frank Wilson, running backs coach, Alex Atkins assisting with the tight ends and the running game. You have a plethora of targets, and this is just focusing on the speed right here. This is just the speed. These are just the speediest guys, and that is an unbelievable list. You've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got, that's leaving off a ton of different guys, right? So you add in just like the sheer amount of fantastic targets that LSU will have going into this season. It's nuts. It's bottomless. So Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton have a primal a primal. I guess I could just say prime, but I'm going to say primal. They had a primal opportunity this season with these weapons, this quarterback, to really, I mean, I'm talking rack up some points, rack up some yards. Because Destin Hill, he's, we didn't even, I feel like an idiot. I didn't even mention him in one of our, talking about all the great receivers. We were listing all the great receivers in our profile on Barry and Brown that we wrote the other day and posted on LSUODYSSEY.COM. And in that, we did not even mention Destin Hill. Stupidly. And he was another transfer that we brought in. And guess what? Destin Hill owned a practice the other day. Just dominated. And you look at the speed right there. You've got the proof of it right there, the stone cold proof of it. He hasn't had everything go his way, sure, in his career. He's also been a fantastic competitor. He's played at a high level for a program that was competing for a national championship a few years ago, before their fall from grace. A program that actually beat LSU twice while Destin Hill was playing for them. So it's very cool that he's coming back, Destin Hill. And now that he's back in the state of Louisiana, and now you see him, what he can do. He is just not only fast, but he is just lerpy. He is lengthy. He is, I don't know how you can out jump the kid. I don't know how you can beat him in contested catches here. I don't know how. And you also have to deal with Trey Green maybe at the same time on the field. You also might have to be dealing with Barry and Brown, Chris Hilton Jr. going downfield. Aaron Anderson, who led LSU in receiving, was top 10 in the SEC in receiving yards and catches, top 5 as well, I should say, in the SEC. Just under 1,000 yards for Aaron Anderson. An incredible season from him, a breakout season, the season he absolutely needed. And we're talking about these other guys because they've come in and made a splash, but we still have so much existing talent on this team already. Kyle Parker. Don't forget, Kyle Parker took over Chris Hilton Jr.'s starting spot for week 1 against USC. So LSU are just completely dominant. Just completely dominant with skill position weapons. It is beautiful to see. It is beautiful to see. I mean, you got Bauer Sharp even at tight end making these one-handed catches. Donovan Green, he has the length as well. And then you have running backs who can make these big plays out of the backfield. Caden Durham, we know he's done that. We know he can do that. Caleb Jackson has done that before in his LSU career. You've got Harlem Berry, who he's probably not going to be running the football too much between the tackles, going right through the A and B gaps, in the SEC with his weight and his stature right now. They'll probably be more, keeping it to the outside or just including him in the passing game. Swing passes, stuff like that, whatever, jet sweeps. Maybe even special teams or something. But Harlem Berry is another freakazoid. Chris Hilton Jr. making a catch right there. He has looked stunning throughout spring. Harlem Berry is just another name to this arsenal. I mean, you've got third and fourth string guys here for LSU in all these positions that could be starting and could be winning at any other number of programs. And LSU has, media, LSU fans have made comments like that before and have been ridiculed and called like, oh, you think you're just better than everybody. You making a comment like that. And it's like, actually, when you look at a guy like Trey Palmer, who was like 4th, 5th, 6th on our receiving core, goes to Nebraska, is their number 1 receiver, has over 1,000 yards, is an absolute freak, completely dominates, goes to the NFL, plays with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Like, what are you talking about? Like, LSU's been doing this for a long time, where the guys even we rejected go to other teams, and they may end up kicking our ass somewhere else. Like, it's this is where LSU should be. The competition is unbelievable. That was a bad play right there. Bad throw. Bad throw from new transfer quarterback Michael Van Buren. But another thing I want to say is, I was wrong. I think LSU is deeper than I thought. And Destin Hill is someone who I've just been talking about and waxing philosophically about, and he's the perfect name to mention with that. And also Kalaj Cobbins. Kalaj Cobbins, number 48, another guy that I not slept on or forgot about or anything like that. But there's so many different players. LSU just signed however many edge rusher guys. You already had Gabe Relaford. You already had Kalaj Cobbins is a name that always just kind of like slipped in my head because we didn't even see him. We didn't see him in any moments last season. Very, very rarely on the field. And now you got him right there standing behind Jamari Butler, number 12. Or sorry, number 19, Gabe Relaford, and then number 12, Jamari Butler is behind him. You got Jack Piper, number 44. Number 6, Patrick Payton right there. And I think this has to be, without a doubt, one of the best rooms. And you got also Damian Shankland back there too, as well, number 47. This is without a doubt one of LSU's best rooms in the entire team. I mean, how could you not say that? LSU had 34 sacks last year. And then on the Matt House 2023 defense had 31. So we only improved by 3 sacks last year from that disgusting Matt House defense. Only 3 sacks more than that 2023 defense. So are you damn right that Kevin Peoples is going to be coaching these guys up to rack up those pass rushing numbers, not just in pressures, but in sacks, finishing plays off? You bet your ass. Expect to see LSU really productive. But here's the thing, as a pass rushing defense. But here's the thing, if you cannot get the sacks, third down, force the turnover on downs, third down, doesn't matter if you get a sack on first or second down. Hits on the quarterback are great, but if you don't like mentally rattle him and demoralize him out of the game by like finishing him off, destroying them in the backfield, ripping the ball out of his hands, taking the ball from that team, then you're giving them a chance to hang around and a chance to beat LSU, because this is what we've seen time and time and time again. LSU are great at creating exotic pressures and getting in there, having a moment, but finishing off these plays in sacks. Even some of LSU's best defensive linemen of the last 5 years, 6 years, haven't had the sack numbers you would expect. Kayvon Chason, PJ Ojolari, Braden Swinson actually eclipsed all of those guys and had the most sacks at LSU since Arden Key's 12 and a half sacks season, which is the all-time leading season from 2016. So Braden Swinson did amazing, but Savion Jones only had 4.5 last year. If Savion has like at least 8 sacks, which he more than was capable of doing with all of the pressures that he had, maybe LSU win a few more games. Maybe this whole thing changes. And you see that LSU are stacked at that spot. Just ridiculously stacked. Just like I said, the receiving core was impressive. And the fact that this team is deeper than I thought. And I was saying, oh, this team is awesome. This team could compete. This team, I really like the character. But do they have the depth, the proven depth to go out there and play in the SEC in the biggest moments against Alabama, against an A&M, against and by the way, I know we hate Alabama. I know we hate A&M, but until we beat those guys again after what they just did to us, we're going to mention those guys like first, just to rub it in our own faces. Self-flagellation, because we have to get revenge from what just happened to us last year. It was disgusting, despicable, disgraceful. And LSU have loaded up in so many spots that I love that it's going to create a competitive environment. It's created a cold-blooded environment where, yes, there's a togetherness with this team. There's a swaggering vibe, a fun vibe with this team, but there's such a get down to business vibe as well. There's such a dog eat dog, I'm going to take your job kind of feeling out there. And that's evident from the film. And there's a lot of moments where guys are literally saying, hey, you know what? This is my moment to shine. I know you're my teammate, but we're going for it here. We're all in here. Like, I'm coming at you. We're coming for this job. You've seen those battles, and it's something that LSU has needed for years. It's something that LSU has told the media, coaches, players. They've said that this has existed for LSU for the last few years, right? But then you would kind of have some reservations about some things and kind of be like, I don't know, maybe this is kind of political. Maybe there's some things holding this team back here or there. Whatever it was, the lack of familiarity with the coaches, the wrong coaches, this feels like there's some type of alignment brewing because you've got a team that is deeper than even I thought. I'm forgetting guys like Jelani Watkins and freaking Bauer Sharp at tight end and Collage Cobbins, guys who could absolutely maybe not start for LSU, but maybe come into a game and dominate a few times this season and really be a big-time player for the Tigers this season. That's more than possible. That's more than capable. They're more than capable of doing that. And who is to say right now who is going to start for this team? Who is to say that? Because, man, I tell you what, I think some of the offense might write themselves in for week 1. Outside of that, it's the rotations, who could possibly be, coming in. It's all over the place. And thank you, Richard. Thank you for watching, my brother. How you doing, Richard? Which Richard is this? Richard 265. Richard. I'm not sure which Richard you are, but Richard, thank you for watching, brother. Thank you for the comment there, my man. It's just a team you want to see LSU take full advantage of. We've got so much talent here. There's so many better players than people are paying attention to on this LSU team. So many better players than even I was covering. Damian Shanklin as a freshman could come in and make some big plays. Collage Cobbins, second year, redshirt freshman, has some experience, not a lot of on-field experience, but someone who can come in and play in some big moments. The linebacker room, might be one of the best in the country. The secondary has definitely improved from a personnel standpoint. But what really has intrigued me about this team, and I feel like this is the one, it may sound really kind of bullish and stupid, but I think this is a big deal. And I think LSU has overlooked this for a few years. The sheer size of this LSU team in the trenches, in tight end position, receiver, across the board, really, even our safeties, even our corners, it's incredible. This is one of the biggest LSU teams, the lengthiest LSU teams from a sheer size perspective that I can remember in a while. And so that probably puts it back to like 2019 era as far as reputable size that LSU's got with this group here. You're looking at guys like Carius Kern, Solomon Thomas, Gabe Relaford's wingspan, Trades Green, his all-around freakish abilities. You've got just some absolute massive human beings. Patrick Payton. I mean, you look at some of these people. Jamari Butler up close. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, and some of these guys, I've seen them develop physically over the years, over the last 3-4 years, some of them from recruiting, some of them from being at LSU. And there's no doubt, I know Jake Flint gets a lot of shit. Anytime there's an injury, it's fire Jake Flint. But whatever the goals, whatever the design, or whatever Brian Kelly or the coaches have asked of Jake Flint to do, I want that player to gain 30 pounds. I want that player to lose 20 pounds. Jake Flint has been able to achieve it with these players. Yes, the Savion Jones and Caleb Jackson weight gains were so ill-advised and hurt those players in the end. But it wasn't a complete catastrophe. And now I think you'll see them having learned from that. You see LSU, there's size, there's power, but there's so much damn speed everywhere you look. Speed. I mean, there's more speed than a mid-60s biker joint. There's more speed than a Who gig in the mid-1960s. There's more speed than in the pockets of Keith Moon, 1966. I mean, surely. I mean, there's more speed than Charlie Sheen's Den, circa 1999. I mean, this was. You saw what I just showed you at the skill position room, but you've also got that rugged athleticism in the trenches on both sides too. So what does that say for this LSU squad? What does that say? I think it tells you a few very key things about this LSU unit. I think it tells you a very key. Thank you, Stan, my brother, and thank you for supporting our show and our content, my brother. Thank you for watching, my man. I hope your Friday is going damn good. Like and share and subscribe, everybody. If you haven't, the viewers are getting bigger and bigger, I see, as we continue to go. But where was I? What was I saying? All these things are kind of coming together. The size of this team has improved. The athleticism has improved. The personnel has improved. There's not going to be, Major Burns out there playing 90 snaps a game, more like 75 to 80. But still, the fact that our defense is even defense and offense, really, the fact that both phases are letting the other offense control the game with 75 plays of offense in a game that was a regular occurrence. And it was Major Burns playing every snap. No matter how many missed tackles, it was Andre Sampley, because we didn't have anybody else. We don't have anybody else. Well, now we do. Now we do. This is from a few days ago. Now we do have more options in every single area. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. LSU has options everywhere. LSU have an improved size. They've got improved depth. Maybe not at defensive tackle. I love the options we do have there. I love the guys we do have at defensive tackle. I love the guys we do have at offensive line. But the truth is, you did lose 4 or 5 starters. You have to find a way to make up for that loss of chemistry, which is, we're not going to know about this offensive line no matter what we see in the offseason, no matter what you hear, until the bullets are flying in week 1 against Clemson. You have no clue. I have no clue. Brad Davis will have no clue. We have to just see this offensive line go through it to see who they are, see what they're made of, and see maybe who are the best players for these positions. But I sure as hell have seen DJ Chester play the best football of his career these last few practices. He has upped his game big time at offensive line. So that is just a great sign right there. You've got guys everywhere who want to improve, who want to get better. You've got the quarterback. You've got the golden kid. You've got the chosen one in Garrett Nussmeier, a young man who wants to be in that spotlight. He wants to win a national championship at LSU. He wants to win that Heisman. He wants to be that next great one at LSU. A power ball. Do you want a power ball? He wants to be that great quarterback at LSU. He's got the framework. He's got the establishment around him. He's got the weapons to do it. Will Joe Sloan, will Cortez Hankton learn from the play calling mishaps of last year? Will LSU be able to run the football enough to kind of take some of that excessive, endless pressure from Garrett Nussmeier's shoulders every second and let him kind of exhale with a few handoffs, which leads to better decision making, leads to wearing down a defense more adequately. It cleans everything up, right? So you've got all of these things falling in line. You've got a defense that really, when you look at it, this defense should be a top 30 defense at the least, right? You've got Blake Baker back. He's already improved the defense big time, but the personnel has improved so much more. You've traded Major Burns for Tamarcus Cooley. You know, you've upgraded across the board. You've got Javian Tobiano actually being given a chance at the back, which is, you know, I'm a big fan of Javian Tobiano, so I'm very happy about that decision. You've got Ashton Stamps as like your 3rd or 4th corner choice, right? And he led the SEC with pass breakups last year with 14. Didn't have an interception though, sadly. But he had 14 pass breakups last year. Only allowed a couple touchdowns. Was targeted a bunch. Here you go, Sage. Great fruit. Point is, LSU are fast. No. I'm going to put it like this. LSU are faster than they've ever been in the Brian Kelly era. They're more physical than they've ever been in the Brian Kelly era. They're perhaps more loaded with elite talents. Let me see these vitamins. Than they've ever been in the Brian Kelly era. They've got the best coaching staff of the Brian Kelly, even with the loss of Bo Davis. And I feel like this is a chance where LSU, you put all these elements together, the best version of this staff. You literally have a Broyles finalist coaching your edge position and a Broyles finalist coaching your running game / tight ends. I mean, the staff is loaded in itself. You got Lance Guidry, a former defensive coordinator, is literally your like safeties analyst. Okay. This is an absolutely loaded unit here. This is a loaded team. This is a loaded staff. This is a loaded roster. Jack Pyburn is going to go under the radar as an edge rusher. But he's a crazy fucking white boy just like Whit Weeks. He's going to raise some absolute hell on defense. Bauer Sharp, he's going to go under the radar. He might be the weapon that sets this running game free, just like Jack Mashburn was a few years ago. I just they're going to go under the radar, those two, but they're just as jacked as just as crazy as Whit Weeks. I love it. They could be huge contributors for this LSU team. This team, you look at the top to bottom, and you feel like the future is bright. But here's the thing: as bright as the future is, like LSU are even stacked at quarterback, and a lot of the transfers we brought in have multiple years of eligibility, not just the one. But the key transfers we brought in, most of them have 1 year of eligibility. And you're likely going to lose a few of these coaches after this season, especially if you're successful. So what do? Well, you win. That's what you do. LSU needs to go on the field and just win games. That's what they need to do. Win every game in sight, because this is a team that is worthy and capable of going the distance. I'm not saying this is a national championship squad right this second. I'm not saying this team's going to win a national championship. I haven't said that. But I'm willing to say that this is a team that is going to be competing for one. And if they didn't make a college football playoff, I would absolutely be stunned. And I feel like if this team, with the talent, the staff, everything seemingly aligning for Brian Kelly in this moment, if this team is somehow incapable, even with injuries, obviously unless like Nussmeier and then like a rash of offensive linemen get injured, but like within a reasonable realm of difficulty, if it with a reasonable number of injuries as well, there's no excuse. You have to get to the college football playoff. Brian Kelly has to get to that college football playoff. I'm not saying the man's job is on the line if he doesn't. That's probably beyond ludicrous. And I would think it would be kind of crazy. Like, it feels like we're building up to something, right? At the same time, and I said this to Lloyd Courtney when I did our live show with Lloyd Courtney from the Jordy Collada show the other day. I've never heard of somebody getting like half a decade at LSU. Just, hey, here's a free 5 years. Let's see if you win something. We'll give you everything. Here's $100 million. I've never seen it happen. Even for guys with a ring on their finger, and they just won it for us. Usually those are the guys we have the least patience with. That's when you have to look over your shoulders after you've won a title at LSU. So maybe that's what Kelly's going to do. Like build up to winning a title or two in his last few years and then taking off. But he can't control it as much as he could. Of course, obviously, if he did, he would already have a few. Point is, I love what I'm seeing from this team in spring. And I feel like this is a team that's more intense, they're more serious. There's a darker vibe to this team. Like the innocence has been lost. We're not just kids anymore. There's serious things on the line. There's serious stakes at play here this season. For everybody, for the coach, for some of these seniors, for some of these transfers who came to LSU, for Garrett Nussmeier, he still would be a high draft pick. He wants to be the number 1 overall pick. For Barrion Brown, he's been great as a return man at Kentucky. He wants to prove he can be an all-SEC receiver like he should have been in Kentucky the last few years, but didn't have the quarterback to be able to do. Nick Anderson wants to show the injuries are in his past. That 10-touchdown, 1,000-yard season that he had, that's what he's regularly all about. There's a storyline everywhere all over this team. And if you want to read more about the storylines that we cover and discuss with this squad, check out this article on LSU.com. LSU.com. LSUODYSSEY.com. Let's open it up for you. LSU 2025 behind the scenes with a cold-blooded, competitive squad. It's kind of the theme I feel here. Kind of feel like this team is, there's so much competitive nature about this team because guys are literally having to win. The stakes are so high. The stakes are so high all around. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of pressure, like negative pressure. It feels like it feels like this team is building to something. There's a relaxed intensity. It's hard to say. It's hard to kind of put in words. But check this article out. We just wrote it a few days ago. Behind the scenes of the cold-blooded competitive squad. Kind of get our general thesis on kind of what this team is all about, in our opinion, here going into this season. But yes, also, John Emery Jr. This is a story that LSU Odyssey has been all over. Last year we were the ones to report that he was going to return to LSU. And he returned to LSU and was awesome against USC and then promptly tore his ACL for a second consecutive year right after week 1. Right after he had 71 yards in a single quarter against USC. He's incredible. And then that happens. It's terrible. He has announced he's coming back, returning to college football. Notice those words, right? I can tell you this. Right now, all of us, we're all trying to do what we can to get John to come back to LSU. And I'm directly in that fight, directly in that operation. John, come back to LSU. Your mission, your circle has not been completed, has not been finished. You're going to start your LSU career with a title, and you're going to finish your LSU career with a title. You started it as a freshman, scoring 4 touchdowns, kind of being a supporting cast guy. You're going to finish it being an absolute big-time key contributor, the big-time veteran of that running back room that LSU football desperately needs. There's a lot of playing time to be had for John Emery Jr. Caden Durham's not going to get the ball every second. Neither of these receivers. LSU are going to want to run the football this year, want to control games. John Emery Jr. is the perfect dual threat weapon to close games out, to finish off opponents, and also to get LSU back in games like he's done before. Check out our article on John Emery Jr., this article, because we go into his complete numbers here. Look at all these numbers. We've got all of his history of numbers. John Emery Jr., in his entire LSU career, averaged 5.6 yards per touch. 5.6 yards per touch. Oh, sorry, 5 yards per carry. 8.9 per catch. He had 5.6 yards per touch in 2022. People forget the first year with Brian Kelly, he had 8 total touchdowns, 6 rushing, two through the air in big games against Alabama, Florida, Auburn, 3 against A&M, over 500 total yards. He was key, and then tore his ACL and was injured and NCAA restricted at different times. So you add John Emery Jr. to this team, the rich get richer is what it would be, because now you add what this team really does not have and absolutely needs are maybe a few more North Stars as far as veterans who can be. They don't have to dominate every player or be a guy who plays every play, but be a locker room veteran and a dude who is a locker room pillar, holds the room together, demands accountability. And you've got those guys there. But some of them there might be a lack of familiarity. John Emery Jr., everybody knows. I think it's a win-win for everybody to bring him back in that room, as long as LSU takes care of him and does this right, because he absolutely is an NFL player at his fullest potential. He has to fulfill that potential, this kid. He has had everything go against him, and all he's done is say, hell no, I'm coming back for more. Every damn time, John Emery Jr. And you cannot disrespect this guy. You cannot think anything but highly of this kid, in my opinion. So, John Emery Jr. potentially coming back, and then Trey Holly. Trey Holly's case up in the air, up in the legal air. We don't know where it's going. We don't know where it's going to land, but it's going to land very, very soon. And that might be something that informs John Emery Jr.'s decision making in all actuality, if we want to be realistic about this. Because the running back room, yeah, maybe it's short on depth, but the depth, it's shoring up pretty quickly if Trey Holly comes back. John Emery Jr. would be such a key veteran piece to that running back room. I would love for him to return. But I'd also love for Trey Holly's legal woes to end for that young man. I can't imagine the nightmare he's been having to deal with, and all for something he's been innocent of. It's absolutely insane. Stan Waters, my dude, what's up, brother? Always good to see you, man. Always good to see you in these comments section. Richard265, my man here. Paul Tarver, what's up, brother? Caleb Jackson looks slimmer. Do we know if he's around 225 pounds? That's about what I'm being told. But his weight has not been updated since last season. And we know he's slimmer than last season. It's just where is he? Where is that number? Paul Tarver says LSU run game has nowhere to go but up. Dead last in SEC last year. Run game coordinator Alex Atkins is key to its survival as well as the O-line. Well, it's you've got to have a guy who's up in the booth who's not afraid to say, "What the hell are you doing? You need to call this play," to his guys who might be above him. Like, he might have to say to Joe Sloan, "What the hell are you doing? You need to call this play. What are we doing calling these up the gut runs? Stuff like that." And Alex Atkins is going to be a dude who's going to do that. He's not going to sit around and watch his team just get marched to another defeat. This is going to be a guy who's, hey, no, the buck stops with me. And if it doesn't, then it's on you, and I'm going to call your ass out. LSU staff is full of those guys now. Full of those guys. Like I said earlier, I would not personally want a staff that is just every single guy's won a national championship. Every single guy has been a former head coach or assistant, everyone's been successful to the biggest everything is just perfect. I want some of these guys to have no experience, and some of these guys to be learning on the spot, and some of these guys to. It's all about the skills and the different things that you can offer the team to make them better. And so that's really how it would be. But obviously, you want to have these various spots. And I feel like Kyle Williams, him being so hungry to get better at his job as a D-line coach and to make an impression, earn that respect from his fellow coaches, that's going to be infectious for every other coach to really be on their A game, and really it's going to be impressive for them to wow, that's going to reignite the hunger in me now, reignite the that's what this is all about type of vibe in me once again. I just feel like there's so much good about this team. And yes, there's a few negative spots. There's a few worrying spots. On the most part, this team should be exciting to you right now. It's all about health. It is all about health right now to me. That's number one, what I'm paying attention to. Is anyone injured? Who got injured? How long are they out? That's all that matters to me right now. If we just get through off seasons without so many injuries, that's really what matters to me. But also, while at the same time still hitting and tackling and actually playing some football in the off season, not just playing patty cake like we did the last few seasons. LSU starting to do some hitting drills again, and it's high time. And I think it's going to absolutely help this defense to be better as well for it. Anyway, everybody, we're going to be doing some lives more and more and more this weekend. We weren't able to this last weekend for certain reasons. Now we will be able to. The veil has been lifted. Everybody, thank you so much. There's so many cool things coming up that I just I have to just pretend that they're not happening while I'm on screen, so I don't oh my god, get crazy. I just don't want to. I can't get nuts. I can't lose control. Lose control. Sorry. Oh my god, what am I doing? Did I leave this on doing that? Oh my god. Happy Friday, everybody.